If you own an HDB flat in Singapore, then you know you're part of a pretty unique housing story. But there's this huge question looming over more than 1 million homes. What on earth happens when that 99-year clock finally runs out? Because the old answers, well, they're gone, and a whole new reality is taking their place. So let's get into it and figure out what this new reality actually looks like for you.
Right. This is the big one. This is the question we're tackling today. For decades, a lot of Singaporeans didn't really stress about it. The thinking was, the government will probably just buy back my flat eventually. But oh boy, the ground has shifted under our feet. And understanding the real answer to this question is now absolutely critical for your financial future. And we're not talking about a small problem here. The scale is just massive. We're talking over 1 million flats. And a huge chunk of those, the ones built back in the 70s and 80s, are now staring down their 50th birthday. So when you have that many homes and that many people affected, the old rulebook, it just doesn't work anymore. The government had to go back to the drawing board.
So to really get where we're going, we first have to talk about where we've been. And for a long, long time, if you were talking about HDB renewal, there was one magic word on everyone's lips: SERS. So SERS was this government program where they would cherry pick certain older HDB blocks that sat on really valuable land. And here's a key word: it was compulsory. If your block got chosen, you didn't have a choice. You had to sell. But you know what? Most people didn't mind one bit.
And here's exactly why they were more than happy. SERS basically became known as the property lottery. And for good reason. The payout was fantastic. You'd get market value for your old flat, and on top of that, you'd get the chance to buy a brand new, heavily subsidized flat with a fresh 99-year lease, usually right next door. I mean, it was a total windfall. But, and this is the most crucial point, SERS was always incredibly rare. It only targeted a tiny percentage of flats, and now the government has made it crystal clear. The SERS chapter is officially closed. There are no more SERS projects planned. So that dream of hitting the HDB lottery, yeah, that dream is over.
Okay, so if SARS is the past, what's the future? Well, a new 4-letter acronym has entered the chat, and its name is VSRs. VERS, or the Voluntary Early Redevelopment Scheme, is the government's brand new playbook for dealing with all these aging flats. And right off the bat, you can see 2 huge differences from SERS. First, it's voluntary. The residents actually get to vote. And second, it's aimed at much, much older flats, right around the 70-year-old mark. And this is where you can see the new rules of the game really taking shape. Yep, residents get to vote on the government's offer, but it's already been made very clear that the compensation will be less generous than what SERS offered. This isn't about finding a high-value land anymore. It's about systematically managing a massive stock of aging homes. The full details are still being worked out, but the direction of travel is unmistakable. I mean, just look at this side by side. It's a complete 180 in philosophy. SERS was compulsory, rare, and targeted young blocks on prime land for a huge payout. VRS is voluntary, designed to be widespread and focuses on very old flats as a way to manage the end of their lease, with a much more modest compensation. They are 2 completely different animals. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. We've moved from a system that was like a redevelopment windfall to a system that's basically just a lease management tool. It's a fundamental mindset shift every single HDB homeowner needs to make, starting right now. So why the huge change? Why move from the lottery to a simple tool? Well, it all comes down to one simple, unavoidable economic reality, something called lease decay. Just think of your 99-year lease like a countdown clock. For the first few decades, the value might be fine, it might even go up. But as those remaining years start to dwindle, 60 years left, then 50, then 40, the value starts to fall. And that drop gets faster and steeper the closer you get to zero. And hey, this isn't just some theory on a chart. It has very real wallet-squeezing consequences. Once your lease drops below 60 years, bam, financing restrictions kick in. Your CPF usage might be limited. Get below 30 years, and trying to get a bank loan becomes next to impossible. All of this shrinks the pool of people who can actually buy your flat, which, you guessed it, directly hammers its resale value. Okay, so that's the new landscape. It sounds a little grim, I know, but what can you actually do about it? Well, let's open up the homeowner's playbook because you do have options. The good news is you don't just have to sit around and wait for VRS. You can get proactive. There are a few key strategies to think about.
For some, the lease buyback scheme might be the answer. For others, it could be renting out a room for extra income, or trying to get a new BTO flat to hit reset on that 99-year clock. Or hey, maybe it's just time to cash out and move somewhere that better fits your life now.
Now, for seniors who are 65 and up, the lease buyback scheme is a really important option. It essentially lets you sell the last chunk of your lease, say the last 20 or 30 years, back to HDB. That money then goes straight into your CPF retirement account, giving you a steady monthly income, all while you get to keep living in your home.
And here's another great option, especially for seniors, downsizing to a 2-room flexi flat. The cool thing about these is they come with shorter, way more flexible lease terms. You can get one for as short as 15 years. That makes them a whole lot more affordable and really tailored for retirement needs. So let's boil all of this down. What's the plan? What should you take away from this? First, and this is the big one, let go of the lottery mindset. VERS is not SARS 2.0. Second, you have to truly accept that your 99-year lease is a finite thing, it's a depreciating asset. And that means you might need to rethink your retirement plans and what you hope to leave behind. And finally, just keep your ear to the ground and stay informed as the final details on VERS are released.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty provocative question that really cuts to the heart of the whole discussion. This big shift from SARS to VERS is forcing every Singaporean to really think about the true nature of their HDB flat. It's a question worth mulling over, that's for sure.